Hey, all right, we good. Levels is good. Levels is good. Levels is good. I know I'm a little bit late, but actually, I'm a little proud of myself today because I'm not late because I woke up late. I'm not late because I got started late. I actually got up early. I had time to do what I needed to do. Everything was good, but I had to go out for a second. I had to go out for a second, and that kind of slowed things up a little bit. But make sure the audio was good. We good. Levels is good. Levels is good. Levels is good. All right, so let's go. So, uh, uh, yeah, uh. TK, right? What's going on? Stacy White. Yeah. Saturday. Carla. See, my people don't sleep a lot, evidently. So, this Saturday, we talking about how much should your family be involved in your relationship business or your marriage. Now, if you're anything like me, you love your family, respect your family, but relationship business is relationship business. Or should I say, relationship business. I'm still working on this talking and drumming thing. So if I mess up, get off beat, it's because I'm talking and I haven't found the rhythm yet. So maybe I'll shut up for a minute and do this. Urban Therapy with Sun 752, and this is the Urban Therapy with Sun show. We do this every single Saturday from 1:30 p.m. till around 3:30-ish. And the reason that we say 3:30-ish is because sometimes it gets so heated that we just have to do a little OT on a Saturday. And it is Saturday. This is the show where adults come out and play with other adults. We laugh, we cry, we argue, fuss and fight, go back and forth with each other, bust it up all crazy. We take an introspective look into our own personality to see the way that the universe projects us into this thing called the world and try to figure out this thing called life. I'm your host, Son 752, aka Omar with the and if you can't say Omar with the well, then you just say Omar with the R. This is the Urban Therapy with Son show. I'm feeling like a real man should. And I hope y'all feeling like real men and women should as well. So today, on this beautiful Saturday the 13th, not Friday the 13th. It was Friday the 12th. Happy birthday. Shout out once again to Carla. Happy birthday to you. And we're talking about how much should in-laws and family be involved. Now, I had to say in-laws and family because you might not be married, but you may be living as if you're married. You may be loving on a marriage level. So, you know, when people see that your union is strong, you know, a lot of times they become curious about how the inner workings of it are. Sometimes your family members might be curious about the inner workings of how your family is set up, or how your love is set up, or how your relationship is set up, or how your union is set up, or how your baby moms or your baby dad, how all of that is set up. So, you know, I don't think that it's a good idea to try to shut out your family totally, because if your spouse or your love is predatory, a lot of times they will try to separate you from your family because they know that your family is supportive and they are protective of you. Now, this thing can really go in a lot of different directions, mainly because nowadays people are getting married in such unconventional ways. They are finding ways to get together in such unconventional fashions that it may almost feel impossible for you to not get involved in your family business, because you may be dealing with a daughter or a sister or a brother or a father even, you know, who you know has not known this person that they are shacked up with or married to. You know, they haven't known each other for a long time. You know, since the internet and internet dating and meeting and all of that stuff has come along, a lot of people have utilized that to meet people who they may consider to be the love of their lives, only to find out that they may have been their worst nightmare. So as a family member who loves your family and your family member, you ain't just going to sit by and let them get taken advantage of or freaked out by somebody that they fell in love with on a whim and they don't even know. So because you know better, you might be feeling like, no, yo, hold on. Yeah. I see what, you know, listen, homie. I know that, you know, my sister love you and everything. And she really she's really all in on this thing. But listen, I just want to make sure that you understand that we love her too. And we're not going to discontinue loving her and supporting her. So if she needs us for anything, we're going to be there. We're not trying to overstep our bounds or anything like that. We're going to always keep it respectful. But just know that she can call us whenever she needs to call. Now, it may not even come down to that being a confrontation, but it is important for the people or the person that you're with to know that you do have a backup system in place, that you do have a protection or a fallback system in place. Because when somebody knows that you totally depend on them all the time, not everybody does well by you. They don't always do right by you. They may be trying to separate you from all of your resources so they can control everything that's going on with you. And I don't mean controlling it in a good way. I don't mean controlling it in a good way. So Respect is definitely due to a couple that's involved with each other heavily. Respect is due. So you should, like on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, you shouldn't be hearing her family or her in-laws just dropping by unannounced, like, yo, what's, hey, aunt such and such, or hey, girl, whatever. You know, they just dropping in. Y'all, you know, they don't know if y'all. They don't know. Y'all might have had to stop doing that for a minute. They interrupt family making time for family time, unannounced. They didn't even call. Or maybe y'all was so engrossed in y'all activity that you ain't hear the call. Oh yeah, we called, but they ain't called until they got to the door. They called when you ain't answered the door. Surprise! Well, some people will put up with that, and a lot of people won't. Like, nah, that ain't really cool. At least call before you come, or call before we come. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? All right, so we're gonna get this hardware out of the way, and so we can have this conversation, because I think this is a conversation that we need to have. We need to talk about some things, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We need to talk about it. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. This is the Urban Therapy with Son show. I am your host, Son 7. I am your host, Son 752, aka Omar with the. And if you can't say Omar with the, well, then you just say Omar with the R. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. How much should you allow your family to be involved in your personal relationship, business, or your marriage? Where's the line? Because there has to be a line. There should even be a line between the two people involved. You know what I mean? Because there can be an emotional line that shouldn't be crossed, a line of respectability that shouldn't be crossed, a line of access that probably shouldn't be crossed. Communication is the key. Communication is definitely the key. And when people don't communicate with each other, then a whole lot of other shit starts to happen. So if you don't communicate that, you know, your mom is going to be moving into y'all guest room for the next 6 years, that might be a problem. Because I don't see Granny. I don't see Granny. I don't see my mom moving in under the guise of, well, you know, y'all starting y'all little family and everything. So I want to be there to help out, When you go to work, I'll be there to help out. I can cook the meals. Yeah, I'll be there to help out. I ain't going to be no trouble. Be there to help out. You know, anything you want, be there to help out. I can even run to the store. Be there to help out. You can help me out too. You know, got health problems too. So, yeah, you ain't tell your spouse or your man or your woman that y'all was going to be moving your mom in. Well, you know, my mom, she need help and whatever, you know what I'm saying? Things been real hard for her ever since my pop died. I thought you said your dad wasn't your life. I'm thinking my stepdad. I thought you said that your mom never got married. Well, he is the man who raised me. I mean, bottom line is, you know, they was real close. And, you know, like, so, you know what I mean? It's hard for her to really, you know, go back to work right now after she had hip surgery and she had ankle surgery. And her left side don't be really working right after the stroke. But she getting back together. So after she come out of rehab, I figured that she should start staying with us. You ain't even tell me your mom was in rehab. Yeah, she in rehab. She in rehab. Come to find out, it was drug rehab. Ain't nothing wrong with your mom. Them strokes was drug induced. But all right, y'all, let's get this thing popping. Let's get it poppy, yo. Okay. Okay, so do y'all understand where I'm going with this? Do y'all know where we gonna be with this? All right, so let's go. So, see what's up with y'all. See what's up with y'all. What's good? What's good? Diller B Commons, what's good? My people, I didn't even see you. Dimples D's is in the house. What up, Dimples? How you feeling? All right, so let's go. Let's go. Brown Eyes Dunlap. What up, Brown Eyes? What's good? Peace to you. You already know. All right. Cheryl Halsey. What's up? What's up, Miss Halsey? How you feeling? How you feeling? Carla talking about some son. Oh my God. You know me by now. Y'all know it's somewhere along the line. You know what I mean? Somewhere along the line the line is going to get crossed. But this is different. It's different with family. All right, TK Wright says, I had a mother-in-law who is a Leo, who used to pop up whenever. She stopped coming by after several times and we weren't there. Okay. All right. You know you ain't write that right, but it's all good. A Leo would have wrote it correctly. Just saying. And TK Wright also says, I think that family should have access respectfully. Should they? Because I know a lot of people that would disagree with that. But that's why we going to talk about it. And Carla says, Carrie, I never really lived around family, but when I did, I was grateful. My 3 brothers don't play about me. I hear that. That's what's up. TK Wright says, I don't want to be linked to a family that I won't appreciate. Very, 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 very important thing right there. Good point. Dimples D says, my former mother-in-law always showed up, but she also had a key, which made it a little uncomfortable. Oh, yeah, that's rocky. Chef Sprayberry, what's going on, my dude? How you feeling? Good to see me some you. Good to see me some you. All right, make sure y'all hit the like button, y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Listen, we are talking about how much should in-laws and family be involved. I mean, this is an issue. This is an issue that definitely affects a lot of people, whether you're married, whether you're just going with somebody, whether you're living with somebody, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you said that I read it incorrectly. Let me see. I had a mother-in-law who is a Leo who used to pop up whenever. She stopped after coming by several times and we weren't there. Okay, I guess I did read it wrong. But I'm not going to accept that in my life. I'm going to accept that you wrote it wrong. And I think it will be better that way. You know, I think that you writing it wrong is the right choice here. Think about it. It works. It works. You feel it? I do. She just didn't write it right. Pretty good. Okay. But yeah. Stopping by, having a key. Now, for safety reasons, I could understand. Like my mom got the key to my crib. And it's a good thing because there have been times I was locked out. There were times I was locked out. Now, I'm not really one that gets locked out of my house very often. Like I'm the type that keeps the key in my back pocket and another key on the ring. So I always have my backup. And whenever I go out of the house without my backup keys, I'll be like, no, that ain't cool. That ain't good. Said this Leo won't admit to being wrong. I will admit to being wrong when it happens. Oh my gosh. See, that's why people don't be wanting to admit, or that's why people be wanting to get to know you or let you get to know them before they announce their zodiac sign. Because, you know what I mean? Being a Leo hard as shit. People want to, I just don't understand. All right. Like I said, it's a good thing that my mom had the key to my crib, because like one time when I got arrested for one of those DUIs, and they didn't return all of my stuff by the time I got released. So I had to go back up there to get stuff. So I didn't have no keys. I didn't have no wallet, no nothing. They just put 10 o'clock in the evening. They just like, all right. No cell phone, no nothing. No nothing. I had nothing. So, you know, the what they call that area where you know they seize all your stuff and you got to go up there and show your ID, and you know, and you get to get your shit back. It wasn't open until the next day. So this was a Sunday night, and I'm like, was it Sunday night? It was night. So I had to call my mom like, yo, can you let me in the crib? You know what I mean? Because I ain't trying to do the window thing. Because then now I got to borrow a ladder from a neighbor. And I got to knock on their door. And it's like 11 o'clock at night now. So can you help me? So, and for security reasons such as those, I could understand in-laws having a key. But having a key just so they can access the crib whenever they feel like it, I can't think of a scenario where I would adhere to that. Like my mom never used her key. She never used her key just to come and, you know, just to pop up. You know, she like me. Well, I guess I'm like her. She got so many keys, she would have to figure out which one it was anyway. You know what I mean? But anyway, nonetheless, your spouse or your man or your woman should know what's going on in a space where they live. So if somebody has access to your space, it should be agreed upon by both parties how much access outsiders can have. Shit, if you and your wife or you and your husband or you and your man, if y'all don't even give keys to y'all kids, and you know there are plenty of couples out there are plenty of households where the kids don't get keys. No, you don't need no key. Why? So you could be coming home late and sneak in the bed and act like you got home at a decent hour? No. And some houses, you know, if y'all know houses like I do where somebody's always home, they don't even lock the door. Shit is like a sitcom. You know how on sitcoms nobody ever knocks on the door. They just open the door and shit. Friends and family, they just open the door. Three's Company, Seinfeld. Like, so you just come in, huh? Just come. Okay. Well, I know a lot of families where kids didn't get access to keys till they was damn near grown. Damn near grown. No, 12 years old, definitely not single digits. And then, and a part of me understands why, because kids lose keys easy as shit. I've been a latchkey kid since I was like 7. And since I was 7, I was losing keys all the time. You know, kids can't keep up with no keys. They ripping and running and playing and doing all kinds of shit. Next thing you know, that key that was supposed to be on their keychain around their neck, first of all, that pops. That pops. It's better to just use a shoestring with a key with kids. Because that keychain, you know, the one where you got the little lock on it, that ain't gonna make it. That shit never makes it. Kids grab each other around the neck and shit. Okay. TK Wright says she used to have a key back when we lived down north. She'd pop in and drop food and stuff off and then leave. I mean, it sounds good. I'm still like, nah, I'm cool. But maybe at least let me know you coming. All right, just don't just, I mean, because some of y'all ladies like to walk around the house naked all the time. It's a common thing. It's a common thing. Even when y'all got kids. Some of y'all kids didn't stop seeing y'all goodies till they got in high school. Hey, judge how you want to judge. I seen it. That's why when kids used to knock on their door to see if they could if the kids could come outside, it took so long to come to the door. You knocking on the door, you know they home. Car is here. It's a Saturday. You know what I mean? It take 10 minutes for somebody to finally come to the door. Why? Because mommy was naked. Butt ass. No, not nightgown. Naked. She a Lady Godiva of the crib. Okay. TK Ray says, I feel judged about the no keys for the kids. Like I said, I seen it. You know what I mean? Kids, you want to get in? You knock. Ain't nobody here? You ain't supposed to be here either. TK Ray says, exactly why my sons didn't have keys. Losing their keys around their friends that are no longer their friends. I didn't like it. Well, like I said, I've been a latchkey kid. I would lose my keys. My mom would get another key made with the quickness. I would lose that too. It was so frustrating. It was. Even I didn't like it. I was because during that time when I was locked out of the crib, I was locked out. Man, and I remember one time. Oh, why did I do this? I let my friend Joe was about 2, 3, maybe even 4 years older than me. I lost my key and I asked Joe to give me a boost up the back window in the bathroom so I could get in the house. And how did we find out about it? I think I told my mom that I lost my key because she was like, well, how did you get in the house? And I was like, I asked Joe to let me give me a boost so I could go in the window. My mom whooped that ass. She whooped that ass. She whooped that ass. She whooped that. She whooped that ass. She whooped that. She she whooped that ass to a fire to that ass. No remorse. That every whooping I ever got, I had it coming. And I didn't even understand why. I was 7. My school was right around the corner. And I mean right around the corner. Like, we went down the street, made a right up the street. Then it was exactly out. You could call it 3 blocks, but it was really 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, I didn't understand. She was like, Omar, if he can get you in my house, he can get himself in the house. I'm like, but that's Joe from down the street. He wouldn't do that. That's why I had to get the ass whooping. I probably would have avoided the ass whooping had I understood better. Or at least just stood down. Like, Joe is my friend. Plus, he was a little bit older than me. When you're 7 years old, so Joe had to be about 11. She looking like. It didn't make it what made it worse is our crib used to get robbed all the time. All the time. We couldn't. Our crib stayed getting robbed. We was that family on the block. Always getting new shit. My mom had fly shit. She worked. My dad had a whole career. He worked. We had dough coming in and predators was looking like. So we stayed getting robbed. Can't keep no stash of money at the crib. Anyway, so yeah, the whole key thing, I get it. I do. I totally do. But I was hard headed on it for a long time. But yeah, TA right says Joe could have gotten you robbed though. Well, it wasn't Joe. We knew where the robberies was coming from. Unfortunately, we knew where the robberies. You know that makes it even worse when you know who did it, but you have absolutely no proof. She said, especially if the neighbors know that you have nice things. Yeah, we had a lot of nice things. We was always having to re-up. Oh, shit was crazy. We always had to re-up. And they would steal shit. They steal guns. Still, yo, man, having your gun stolen, it feel like you getting laughed at in your face. You ain't even home, but they took your piece. Like, I know they took that shit like, don't you wish you was here to use this shit? Let me take this away from you. You know, guns kill. But anyway, but yeah, how much should in-laws and family be involved in your personal business and your personal relationship? Now, when I think about this topic, I'm thinking about how much were they involved before you even got in a relationship? Because all of us have spent some time being single. So during the time you were single, were your family dropping by all the time? Did they have total access? Were you cool with that? Because some people are. Some people are. And when you are single and you have your own place and you're used to your people's dropping by all the time, whatever, it's going to probably be a little bit harder to slow that down once you start getting involved with somebody seriously. You know what I mean? Because you may get involved with somebody who really don't want it to be like that. Like, yo, you know what I mean? I like your family, you know I love your mama. You know I love your mama, but yo, she come over too goddamn much, man. She come over too goddamn much. Your dad, he come around, you know what I mean? He cool, he a good dude. And he seems to understand things, but your mom be dragging him over here with her. You can tell you can tell he feels some kind of way. But speaking of dads, what about the overbearing dad? The super protective dad? Ain't no man good enough for my daughter, dad. As if his daughter is all of that. She might be a stone cold hoe, but not in his eyes. In daddy's eyes, she's the prize. That's my baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl. I remember when she had her first abortion. I remember when she ate too much, no small portion. Shout out to all of the men, all of the fathers out there that have had to get their daughter an abortion because she got pregnant when she was like 12 or 13. Yeah, I know it's trifling, but it happens. But that's your baby girl. That's your baby girl. And you never accepted the fact that she was just a little too friendly. She had friendly twat. At a young age, she was very curious. So besides the, wanting to ride on the dude that got, anyway, shout out to all of the dads that have had to go through that kind of shit. It's hard. It's hard. And it don't matter. It don't matter whether she was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's a hard thing for a father to accept. And a lot of fathers have forced their daughters to get an abortion because, like, nah, fuck that. Nah, you ain't having no baby. Not yet. The hell? But he loved his daughter so much, he wasn't mad at his daughter, but he had to take charge. Like, no, you ain't having no baby yet. Because we ain't having no baby yet. And we gonna be the ones that have to take care of it. So it was like a situation. You paid for her first abortion. You know what I mean? She went through postpartum over that shit and waited until 6 weeks when she could start fucking again and got pregnant again. Like, I bet you ain't gonna do it again this time. Family business. And family dynamics such as that, and shout out to all y'all pro-lifers who may be mortified at what I was just talking about. Let shit go the way it go. Yeah. If your dad was involved on that level when you were single, there's a greater likelihood that he's going to be involved when you are seriously linked up with somebody. Or you may be so used to that level of involvement that you invite it without consulting your man about it. Can y'all hit the like button? 5 likes? That's what we doing? I mean, I know it's Saturday. I know people got things to do. The kids back in school. Y'all probably have some shopping to do. You know what I mean? You got errands to run, extracurricular activities. Kids going to this practice, that practice. Shout out to the Little League football games and all that kind of stuff. But that shouldn't stop you from hitting the like button. I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, I'll ask for a lot. All I'm asking is that you hit the like button. I mean, you ain't got to do a whole lot. Y'all a little lazy when it comes to the poll too. But can I get some algorithm, please? Please. All right. Cheryl Halsey says, I was always at home. Our kids didn't get any keys until they were grown. Grown? God damn. I'm going to do a show. I'm going to write that shit down now. I'm going to do a show called Parents and Keys. This shit needs to be studied. Yeah, I mean, parents and keys. We need to take a look at this shit. I don't know what it is about some of y'all parents in the access. Like the kids live there, don't they? All right. Stacey White says, that's the mindset my grandma had. What you talking about? TK right says, hating ass neighbors. I got stories for days. Dimples D says, laughing my ass off. I was one of those parents that walked around naked around the house. My kids hated that time. For a minute, it was like the movie Meet the Fockers. I'm telling you, I thought it was a common thing. Like my mom didn't do it, but she kind of did. She stopped early. My dad didn't. He'd go from the bedroom to the bathroom totally butt ass. I'm like, all right. I thought it was a thing. I thought it was a thing. I mean, normally when I went in the room, he had on pajama bottoms. But somehow, anyway. TK Wright says, my daddy was overbearing. I loved it. Get right or get out, motherfuckers. I wish that he lived longer. I would have never married my ex-husband. My grandfather used to man that's supposed to be taking you as his wife or whatever. He might feel some kind of way about that. He might, even in the innocence or respectability of it. It's like, this is my wife. Your wife was your wife, right? So, I mean, I understand, Mr. Stacey White says, I used to always lose my keys. You don't want nobody with her kids. You don't want nobody with her kids. What does that mean? Don't start losing me. I don't know what I mean. What that mean? What that mean? But anyway, yeah. Like I said, communication is the key. Communication is the key. So at the very least, if y'all have a conversation about about how much access not just parents, but any family member should have. Because like you might be that popular aunt. You the aunt that was always like the mom. So your nieces and nephews don't feel no kind of way about momming you every now and then. They coming over momming you. Mom. There's there are plenty of aunties out there that played the mom role. And the kids got used to it. To the point where auntie can't date in peace. Y'all know the aunt I'm talking about. The aunt that never really had a man around a lot. She might have been cute. You know, she might have been focusing on her career a lot. But she might have also been that kind of aunt that always got into toxic relationships. So you had to keep your eye on auntie. But that was your favorite aunt. She was the aunt that did Christmases like you was hers. She might not have had no kids of her own. She might not. Plenty of aunties like that. So aunties that don't have kids of their own always be playing mom to their nieces and nephews. And nieces and nephews get used to that shit. And they used to have access to auntie. They can run the auntie crib, you know, when things don't go right at the crib. You running away. Where she run away? You know she at Sandra house. What? Why they always think Sandra going like her house is the haven, is the safe haven? Like I won't go to Sandy house and snatch them the fuck out. You know what's gonna happen? Sandy gonna feed them, let them play the game or whatever. You know what I mean? You know, talk shit to them, and then she gonna bring their ass home. As a matter of fact, yeah, they should be coming home in a couple of hours anyway. But let me call and make sure everything is all right over there. Hey, Sandy, what's going on? Where Rhonda at? Where Rhonda? Oh, mm-hmm. Oh, she sleep right now, huh? Okay. What time you bringing her home? Okay. Because, I mean, it's getting close to when she should have been going to bed regularly. What a badass. Listen, you know, me and you going to have a talk later on because you can't be, they can't be feeling like they can always go to you when so I want to get into it right now. I don't want to get into it right now, but Aunt Sandy always understand. Aunt Sandy understands. But yeah, then what happens when Aunt Sandy get a man? What happened when Aunt Sandy get a man? And Aunt Sandy man is trying to dig Aunt Sandy out on a regular basis. Yeah. Aunt Sandy new man like to jump on top of Aunt Sandy and beat her with the nightstick. Now I ain't talking about no physical nightstick. Well, the stick happens at night. We can't be over Aunt Sandy house all the time because Aunt Sandy is a screamer. I'm just saying, man, you know, these are things that we don't always, you know, take into consideration until we have to. So yeah. Aunt Sandy. Aunt Sandy got a man. Who? Oh hell no. We need to go over Aunt Sandy house and find out what's really good. My aunt is like my mom, and I'd be damned if anybody play her. Stacy says my grandmother did not want no mates with her kids. Why? He says I am cousin auntie safe haven. Okay. Cool. Yeah, but how much access should your family have in your relationship? You know, what about the people who always tell they family what's going on in the relationship? Whether it's good or bad. It's like everybody knows the inner workings of your relationship. So personal conversations between the two of you are never really personal because you know that they running around, you know, they running back and telling their family everything that happens. So, you know, if you just get your feelings hurt, like your feelings are hurt because you got yelled at. And it could be basically over nothing. I got yelled at because, you know what I mean, you let the damn toilet paper run out. You couldn't refresh the toilet paper? I had to wipe my ass with the toilet paper core. That ain't cool. I mean, it wasn't even no paper towels in there. I couldn't make it downstairs to the paper towels. No napkins. No had to wipe your ass with the paper with the toilet paper cord. You know, the brown round cord. You unwrapping that shit. Don't try to flush that thing. That's not what that's for. Don't try to flush that. So, you know, but yeah. And do you feel like you could trust your family if you know that nothing between the two of you will ever be secret? It will never be personal. It'll never be private. Your privacy is always being invaded by your people. You good with that? Because that would make most people that I know uncomfortable. And it would definitely, I know personally, that would definitely limit the things I would tell you. Like, especially personal things that don't even have anything to do with our relationship. But like, if I know that the things that we talk about or the things that go on between the two of us will never just be between you and I, how can I trust you? How can I trust you with the things that don't even involve, you know, you and I? Maybe there's some things that I've went through in my history that I would rather keep private. Maybe I'm dealing with some personal things, some demons or whatever that I'm dealing with. How can I trust you with my demons? You running back telling your people everything that we talk about. And some of them don't even have the decency to not bring it up in conversation. So have you made an appointment to get that lump in your balls, that lump in your testicles checked out? Have you made an appointment for that yet? Like, you know what? I cannot with this chick. You know what I mean? Nobody's supposed to know that. How do you know that? Yeah, well, that's the kind of shit that you might have to deal with. That's the kind of thing you may have to deal with, you know, dealing with somebody that doesn't respect boundaries. There are no boundaries. There are no boundaries with family. So, you know, your woman is always running back, telling her mom or parents or sisters, brothers, whatever, whoever cares about her on the family side, they always running back telling them everything that's going on between the two of you, and really not giving y'all a chance to work things out between the two of you. That's not a good position. That's not a favorable position. That's not a position that most people want to see themselves in. And and what if you're dealing with what if you're dealing with a spouse or a lover, whatever, that's always bringing their family into your business? Like, so it could be more than them just sharing your personal business between the two of you with somebody else. What about a situation where your spouse or your man or your woman is always expecting you to bail their family out? Always. Sometimes I mean literally bailing them out, like maybe jail, and sometimes bailing, and sometimes just helping them to get out of trouble that they should have been able to avoid anyway. They grown. So it's almost like you like a social worker. Every time they get into a bind, every time they get into a jam, money too. So y'all have to take money that really should be going into your household, and you have to always be spending it on their family members because they can't stay out of shit. Barney talking about some LL Cool J. LL got hair on his face? Does he? Does he? Lightbow says, what about my mother-in-law breaking into my bedroom? What about it? What about it? Well, damn. What about your mother-in-law breaking into your bedroom? Why would that happen? Why would that happen? What's up with that, Lightbow? But you are touching on a situation that is serious. What if family members being around all the time and some of them have sticky fingers? So shit be coming up missing when her family comes around or his family comes around. They don't know how to keep their hands to themselves. They don't respect boundaries. They don't respect personal property. What's that about? TK Rex says, I'd be upset if mine had done that. That ain't cool. That ain't cool. And what's more uncool about it is that certain family members might feel like they have the green light to do whatever they want to do. Like it's really about them. Dr. Darnell, what's good? How you feeling, my dude? Good to see you. Always, always. Yeah. Because if you're dealing with a spouse or a lover that doesn't even check their family members, they don't even check them. So they violate, they overstep their bounds, they cross the line, and you might be dealing with a spouse or a man or a woman that's too pussy to check their family members. Like, nah, we ain't doing that over here. Hold on.
You have a call from Cheryl.
Cheryl, welcome to the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind this afternoon?
Hey, hi everybody in the chat.
All right.
I was just, I'm watching the show and listening, and like when I did say that my kids didn't get keys, because like I said, I was home all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to go through the hassle because they had a lot of friends. I didn't want to go through them losing their key or uh, anyway, yeah, losing the key period. And
Okay.
then as far as the in-law, now I was blessed with a beautiful mother-in-law. Basically a lot of them, the family, we were all together, my family, his family. But then we're speaking on things like what you were just saying before I saw people getting sticky fingers. Okay. Now that happened a couple of times, in our home. And I know my husband done something which I mean it was funny. But anyway, his people had a habit of coming in. If he leave his cigarette, somebody would just come in and just go in his pack. And so
Mm-hmm.
what he done, he rolled some tobacco, took it out, put firecrackers in his
Oh,
cigarette.
wow.
And
Are you serious?
I'm
Whoa.
serious. He put firecrackers in his cigarette. And like he had a feeling who was doing it. But then I know me and him was in the bedroom and you hear pow pow pow. Well, it happened twice. One time it was his brother. The second time it was his brother-in-law. Yeah,
Did they
but
have any lips left?
uh,
I said, did they have any lips left or hands? That hurt.
they still had lips because he rolled it enough so as soon as it lit, it just started popping, and but anyway, one his brother got just a little small burn on his finger.
Just a
Yeah,
small one, huh? Yeah, just enough
yeah,
to teach
yeah.
them a lesson.
But
Just
anyway, he got mad, he got tired of people who got cigarettes, you caught him. He said, don't nobody smoke in here but me.
uh-huh.
And his cigarettes came by missing. He started thinking that the boy was sneaking his cigarettes.
Yeah.
And at that time, they weren't smoking. Yeah. They didn't start smoking until they got probably about 18, 19. But they had to buy their own cigarettes. He wouldn't buy them for them. But yeah, and then like what you're saying, boundaries do have to be set. Now, for people, which we never did. Say for instance, and then I had two sisters live around the corner from me, and I would call and say, "Hey, I'm gonna come around. Is it cool?" Just
Mm.
go around, sit and have a beer. This is after my husband had gone to work. He would leave for work, say after the kids got home from school. So he would leave about 3:30. But
Okay.
anyways, I never did like the fact that you have people that pop up, without calling, you know, and I didn't like it because that's not nothing that we done.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody invited us over, we will go. But just for us popping up on people, it's well, I didn't like it. I didn't like it, and we didn't do it to nobody else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like what you said, boundaries do have to be set. And like I said, I was blessed with a beautiful mother-in-law. Yes. I mean, she would call before it's popping up. Now, my mother was totally different. She would, but what she would do, say for instance, she would go to Costco. Okay, and she knew that I told you we had two sets of kids. 10 years
Mm-hmm.
later, I had another set of kids.
Okay.
So my sister's children and my second set, they were close in age. So
Okay.
she would go to Costco. But what she would do, she would toot her horn, you know. And Paula would call me and tell me, Mommy's going to Costco. And so blah, 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 blah. Anyway, but as far as just popping up, coming, sitting up, and so No, no, my mother didn't do that. Neither did his mother.
Okay.
And then, like I said, the brothers and then the sisters, they would call, or if we was going to do something on the weekend, we'd invite people over, but it was just never a pop-up thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a right to this day. I can't stand that. Well, in my house now, yeah, it's a code. You got to push the code to get in. But at any rate, like I said, and see, that's why I didn't give my children keys because I was like, they might lose them, and my husband and I both agreed on it. No, and this is another reason he didn't want me to work. No, you need to be at home. So if the school call or something go down, at least they can get a hold to one of us. Which was true. Yeah. And I experienced something like that. But luckily, my husband hadn't left to go to work yet. Do you realize this school teacher took my baby uh, on a trip? What was it called? It was a Fairyland in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
And she got on that bus and left my baby boy. And what did it was a building across the street. This lady seen him standing out there looking around, and so she called us and told us that she had our baby. He was a baby boy at the time. But anyway, he was in the fourth grade, and my thing was, how could she do something like that? Even
Mm-hmm.
though he was wrong for running off. But we did talk to him. We didn't put no hands on him or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, the whole thing is, you just don't do stuff like that. And, like I said, I'm not trying to get away from the subject, but the point of the matter is, just like he ran off like that, but she still should not have left him. And my thing was, far as giving them keys, this is why I was always home. So no, I didn't give out no keys, not until they got up in their teens and stuff. And I felt it beneficial to us because we didn't have to worry about it, as far as them losing keys. Only my husband had a set and I had a set,
Okay.
and a spare set. Yeah. But yeah, no, but like what you said, there does have to be boundaries set. And for that reason, we did try to set boundaries, and like I said, by setting an example. If we're going to go to somebody's house, we would call first.
Yeah.
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 And
That's the right thing to do.
I've never liked that. And I guess I'll never will. Yeah.
What about?
And so, well, my daughter is like kind of the same way. The boys, they don't give a damn.
Mm-hmm.
But my two girls, they're the same way. They don't like nobody popping up on them without calling. As far as walking around the house, yes, I will walk around the house. It may be something see through, but no. Me and Mr. Halsey, we always kept ourselves. Well, we stayed in robes all the time. But anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd call in and share that little bit. But yeah, and see, that's what I was saying. I didn't even get a key, for them to lose, or for them to have and somebody else get a hold to it because our house got broke into. Well, we took the kids right around the corner to the park.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
predator will find their way in. They will clock all your movements.
Right where we. Yeah.
They find out when you go into the market or the grocery store or whatever.
And see, and I was like, and it hurt me so bad because my good jewelry, they took my whole jewelry box. But what I had in there was my boys' braids, after I cut their braids, I bagged them and put them in there. I was just keeping them.
Mm-hmm.
And when they took the jewelry box, they took that was more valuable to me than that costume jewelry I had in there. Yeah, I kept my other jewelry separate. But anyways, yeah, it was just along the corner, so it had to be somebody because it was us and the three kids at that time.
Yeah.
And yeah, but they, it's life. What do? You live life.
Yep.
But there's certain things like you said, you do have to set boundaries, and that's
What?
what we tried to do.
Well,
And it's
let me
still
ask
an
you
art.
this. Let me ask you this. You know how
Uh-huh.
family from out of town, like I'm talking
Uh-huh.
about the days before cell phones like that. You know, family
Right.
might they let's say they came to your city and
Mm-hmm.
they was really just passing through. They wasn't staying around long or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
so they might just drop by the crib because you know what I mean. They just what they might say is we was gonna be in the city and I ain't want to leave. I ain't want to pass through without seeing you. I hadn't seen you in a while,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So they stopped by. Was that okay with you and
Mm-hmm.
your husband?
Uh, yeah, it would have been okay. It would have been okay because I always, kept the house nice, and it would have been okay. It's just the fact, if they would have dropped by, they might would have just caught us in our robes and what have you because we stayed in the bed so much.
Mm-hmm.
But kids outside playing, it would have been okay for something like that. But I'm just thinking about everyday people. Let's say, for example, his brother, his youngest brother, his wife was like that. She liked to just pop up on you.
Okay.
And one New Year's, he went down because um, my same child was sick, and so we brought in the New Year together. Everybody else went out, but Henry and I, we just, we sat there and drank and laughed and talked. But then all of a sudden, New Year just knock on the door. Nobody ain't called to tell us anything,
Mm-hmm.
and it's his brother and his wife. And he said, I told her we should have called first. I said, yeah, that's what we normally do. I mean, it really, it did make me mad. It did. And my husband was like, well, it's okay, sure, But I'm like, no, it's not okay. No. And I did tell her, as I said, exactly like that. They said, yeah, I told her, we should have called first. And I said, yeah, you really should have. And I laughed it off, but they knew I wasn't playing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. You got to let
But
them know.
yeah, and like I said, as a matter of fact, years after that, after he stopped working, we was at my mother's house, and he wanted to go over to his brother's. It wasn't so far, and so he went to his brother's, and he went without calling because he didn't have their phone number. But still, he just, he couldn't smoke in my mother's house, so he had to walk and smoke. So he
Mm-hmm.
walked over to his brother's, and his wife had told him, the same person, had told him, next time you come, call first. I don't know, maybe she's getting back at me. I don't know. But this was years later. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. And from that point on, he said, I'll never go to my brother's house again, And I was like, well, don't put that in me.
I know. Like,
This is why.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's the. Now you
And
want
he
to
felt,
start. He want to be
this,
pouting because
yeah.
he want to be pouting because he don't want to because you told him to be a little respectful. Yeah, people kill me with that.
Exactly. Yeah, and I can understand it, I didn't know that he was gonna go, all I
Yeah.
know he was outside smoking. Next thing I know, I look outside, he's gone. And I'm in there talking to my mother. And we sitting up chopping it up. And that's another thing. My mother never gave nobody keys to her house. Yeah. And then, and this is serious. No, this is dead serious. My mother had got, she had, what? She thought she was having a heart attack. She called my
Oh
sister.
shit.
Okay, the fire department got there, and what was I? I was at home, and but I was some blocks away. Anyway, uh, my mother had to throw the keys out of the window for the fire department. Otherwise, they was going to break down her nice door. And then we all went in on her, because I was got to saying, it wasn't bothering me that much, but because I was thinking my younger sister had a key,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, Mommy, you mean to tell me nobody has a key? And then after that, she had to give out keys. But we
Mm-hmm.
were all grown and married. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But
She had to
no,
give out
but
them
she
life
did.
alert keys.
You're right, And like she explained, she said, well, if something happens, if you guys leave your keys around, and she was living by herself at the time. My father had passed many years prior. But then my brother was living with her. And I was like, well, Mommy, Dickie is here, and he had his own key. He did. But he was living in her house.
Yeah.
But she would not give her keys to nobody, none of the rest of us. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think
But
that's about?
anyways,
Sure.
I just,
If your mommy
mhm.
asking, where your people's originally from like down south?
Oklahoma. Hmm.
Oklahoma. Hmm.
Oklahoma. Yeah. And see, that's how my mother's sisters they start coming one by one. Yeah. My aunt, they start coming one by one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
First my mother and my father came out. And then all of us are from Oakland, California. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no. My two older brothers, my mother had them, and she brought them with her from Oklahoma. Yeah.
Okay.
So they were born in Oklahoma, but they were still young, very young. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, they're good. That's like where our family is from, Oklahoma. Yeah.
Okay. Because
Hmm.
I'm wondering if it's like a connection. Because I don't, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I never hear white people talk about this. About the no keys
Hmm.
thing. I never hear them talk about that. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering if it's a
Hmm.
black thing and maybe it's a southern thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
no, I don't know.
I
But
don't know. Yeah.
you know what I mean? It
I
could be
don't
because
know.
my mom is from Arkansas.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
But she gave
Okay.
out she gave out keys. So somehow she
Yeah.
didn't get the no key gene. She give out keys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. It does seem weird, huh? Yeah. But that's where it was. But like I said, I was home all the time, and so I was like, there's no reason to give the kids keys because I'm always here.
Mm,
During the week. And so we always made arrangements so they would never be locked out. You know,
yeah.
I didn't even put a spare key nowhere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to go for our vehicles. We always kept a spare key under the hood and a key box, but there were never no spare keys. And so, anyways, I just thought I would call and share that and explain why I only gave my kids keys when they got grown.
Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I just didn't want them to lose them. Like you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I did. I was losing keys all the time. It took me such a long time to get used
Yeah,
to.
yeah. But say, and then you know what? Also, it depends on the living arrangements. You got to
Mhm.
think about it like that too. Now, see, I was a stay-at-home mom,
Yeah,
okay, and so, but now then you do have moms that are out there, fathers, however. And the children do have to have a key.
Yeah, I mean, at some point they definitely
do
need
have
it.
to have a
Yeah.
key. I'm thinking just from my point of view, but there are other living arrangements where the children do have to have a key.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to stop and look at it like that. You know, it's I guess yeah, like I said, the best way to sum it up is it depends on the living arrangement. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. And that's
Yeah.
all.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mhm. Okay.
All
Well, I
right.
love everybody in the chat and love you guys, okay?
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Have a
Thanks for
blessed
calling
rest of
in.
the day.
I appreciate you.
Okay. All righty. Bye bye.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Keygate. I'm telling you, I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. You know what I mean? No keys to the crib. What we doing out here? Limitations. Limited access to the crib. What if you just don't feel like coming to the door? But I've known plenty of people, especially teenagers. They didn't get home by a certain time. They needed to find somewhere else to stay. Their parents wasn't playing. They don't care, 14, 15, 16. So, okay, you grown. You can't make it back to the crib after a certain time. Well, either you're gonna be homeless on the street that night, or wherever you was at that made you come in late, you better stay there. And we're gonna have a conversation about that the next day too. Or, the doors get locked after a certain hour. So they'll definitely know who was in the crib by head count. Only 4 out of the 5 kids are accounted for, huh? Okay. Y'all know where the 5th one is? Oh, ain't nobody talking? Okay. We'll find out. We'll find out. Now, it's you hear a lot about kids having to sneak out because they want to go to a party, they want to go to a function, they want to go over their young lover's house or whatever. But when you got to sneak in the crib, it's a whole different action. Out is probably a little bit easier. Sneaking back in, ugh. Yeah, that can get a little sticky. All right. So we're talking about how much should in-laws and family be involved in your personal relationship or your marriage? How much? How much is okay? Now we've touched on a lot of things this afternoon. I feel like we've made some headway. We've gotten somewhere when it comes to this topic. But I know that there's way more. How do y'all feel about family members being invited or inviting themselves to stay in the house? And it's a serious thing because when family members stay in the house with you, and you're not alone, you're not single, you're not unmarried, or you're not living by yourself. You know that if family members have to come stay with you for a while, there's a good likelihood that they're going to be in your business too. Maybe not all the time. I've known people who had to stay with their peoples for a little while and they minded their business. But there's also a good chance that they won't mind their business, and there's a good chance that they may be invited into y'all business, even if it wasn't invited. For example, if y'all have domestic violence issues in your house, they gonna know what's going on. They gonna know that you get your ass whooped on a regular basis, or that your man sometimes he can't control his temper, and y'all quote unquote get into it sometimes. Well, your family members gonna know and see that y'all get into it sometimes, and there's a good chance that they don't appreciate how y'all get into it sometimes. There's a good chance of that. What? Yeah.
You have a call from Rita.
Rita, welcome to the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. Thank you for calling in on this afternoon. What's good with you? What's on your mind?
Hey, good afternoon. Okay, so as soon as you mentioned family members inviting themselves to stay,
Yeah.
yeah, I said that I had to,
It was your time.
yeah.
You going in?
Yeah. So, oh gosh. Okay, so I was in a car accident, and unfortunately, I think that I know I shared this with you guys because Troy was on the phone at the same time that I shared this. But it was like right after New Year's, like literally like right after New Year's. So my mother, was down, with us because she always came to stay and see the kids, for Christmas and New Year's. And she hadn't left to go back, South Carolina.
Okay.
And I got into a car accident on the way to work. My ex-husband was laid up with somebody, so he didn't answer his phone. My mother was there, and she decided to tell him that she was going to stay as long as as I needed her to stay. And he was not happy about it at all. It was a very tense 9 months. She stayed 9 months and 2 weeks.
That's a big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was very, very tense. But I'm her only child, so she was just like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere, and you can't be counted on. So here I am to stay until such time that it's time for me to leave. It was crazy.
Mm.
It was very intense because she's an overbearing. She has an overbearing personality, and but I mean, I understood why she made that decision. As a mother myself, if I felt like my one of my children didn't have support,
Yeah.
I would make sure that they did have that support from me.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. So luckily, I actually love my future daughter-in-law. So I don't think that's ever going to be an issue.
Yeah, the only thing is that doesn't make the situation any unstickier. It doesn't make it any less sticky.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it can have the exact opposite effect. Extra sticky.
And my mother's so messy, bro. So while she was here, she was all in the business. She'd be like, "Who are you talking to online? What you doing?
Oh.
Who that?"
Oh.
Like it was.
Whoa.
And then she called his mother. Yeah, it was.
Oh.
And be like, "Do you know that your son?" And she's like, "Yeah, he ain't shit." And
What?
Yeah, his mother was literally like, "Yeah, I knew this. I knew this is how my son was. But I had hoped that your daughter would, would inspire him to be more."
Mm.
So,
Okay.
I was like, "Oh well."
Yeah.
So
Well, that's a hell of a story, and it's not a foreign story. That's the crazy part about it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people have had to go through this exact same thing. When family members come to stay with you, well, first of all, I believe that the spouses or house however the situation is, the lines of communication should definitely be open, but probably especially so when you're talking about having somebody move in the crib with you. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
family members or whatever, because life is going to change when you have somebody come stay at the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if somebody's going to be living with you, especially at an extended period of time, like even if it was just a weekend, well, we have to make adjustments
Yeah.
because life that we are used to living when it's just the two of us or the people who are able to live in this house, they have to all make adjustments. So when somebody is coming for the long term and y'all haven't talked to each other exactly about how each other feels about this thing and how it's going to play out, and exactly what the living arrangements are. First of all, it's not fair. You know what I mean? It's not fair
It's not to who?
to the other family member.
Okay.
Because if the tables were turned, you probably wouldn't appreciate it. Now, I understand the necessity of it or whatever on one side, but if it really is a necessity, then that's even a better reason to make sure that the lines of communication are open. Now, in a situation like yours, there may be a whole lot more to it, because even if let's say, for example, your spouse didn't want your mom to come and stay for a long time, but knowing that he wasn't going to do what was necessary in order to get you back to where you needed to be, he probably he probably would have to submit to that.
That's exactly what happened. So I'm very communicative. So I was like, she should have told me, this is what I'm doing. And I was like, I'll talk to him and, share with him, what she'd like to do. And he was like, well, I don't know how I feel about that. And I said, well, she'd like to be able to take me to physical therapy, doctor's appointments and things like that. Because, like I had to have back surgery and I was in a wheelchair and in a walker, and, so I wasn't walking. So, and once he heard that, oh yeah, she was going to be taking me to doctor's appointments and physical therapy, he just felt like he can continue to go do whatever he's doing. So he conceded. But I most certainly did think about how I would feel if it were the other way around.
Yeah.
And like how I would, what if it was me who had to concede?
I mean, and it's not always a situation where you just don't want family around. It could be a little bit of that, and you're not wrong for feeling that way. Depending on the dynamics of how the two of you came together. Like, I could see if it's a situation where the two of you were normally around family members all the time anyway. But if it was a situation where y'all normally spend time together away from other people or whatever, then there's probably going to be an adjustment period on both of your parts. You know what I'm saying? Because if the two of you are used to just being together, then when you add on a third person or a fourth person or more, it's going to make it a little different. It would be no different than, let's say you're a single mom. You're a single mom and it's just been you and the kids for years. And mommy fall in love with some dude and move him in. Or let's say she don't move him in. Okay. But, she's starting to get serious about the guy, and the kids don't really understand that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They only used to having to go through their mom in order to exist. And now they know that if she got a man, he's getting in her ear. He may be advising her. He may be telling her to do things when it comes to y'all that y'all don't appreciate. Things like, tell them boys to get a fucking job. You know what I mean? 25-year-old man should have some kind of income for us. Tell him you gotta get a job. How about you need to start paying paying some kind of rent? Even if you don't want him to pay straight up rent, he should be giving you something. He should be contributing something to the household. You don't think so? The motherfucker he's like let's just say he has a voracious appetite. The motherfucker eat like a 16-year-old basketball player. And I don't know if you've ever, been around 16-year-old basketball players, but them motherfuckers eat.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
First of all, I was a 16-year-old basketball player, but yes, two of my children, the two of the boys, played basketball. So
yeah. Well, there are two things that 16-year-old basketball players do. They stink and they eat. So there's a lot to be taken care of in that regard. I would advise you to just stay out of their room, because when you listen, don't nothing stink like don't nothing stink like unwashed ball shorts. I'm sorry, that shit is offensive. That shit is mad offensive. Ball shorts gotta go right in the washer. No, there's no hamper for ball shorts, and especially if you've actually played ball in them. You know what I mean? So, like I said, a 16-year-old basketball player stink and they eat, and it's crazy. So bearing that in mind, that 16-year-old basketball player might not be used to his mom having no boyfriend, and she getting serious with him. You know what I mean? Now we got a whole baby boy Melvin situation going on.
Mm-hmm. So
and you know how Melvin handled the situation. Like, he regulating. Like, I'm gonna talk about the stand your ground law. Mel wasn't playing. He wasn't playing with Jody. He was not playing with Jody. Like, okay.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't like the idea. That's probably because I've been with somebody who isolated me from my family, and it happened so gradually that I didn't even realize it was happening. So because of that, I just value having family around, not just for me, but for whoever I'm with. Like, I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't have a good relationship, with their family.
Right. I would advise against that.
Family? Like, how you don't have a good relationship with your whole family? So for everybody?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't have a good relationship with their family, or when they're going through stuff, they're not able to work it out, because that means that's a red flag for me, that when we're going through stuff, it's quite possible that we're not going to be able to work it out. So I do value family like heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that people need to know their role and not overstep bounds.
Yeah. You don't really want to. Well, I know I wouldn't really want to deal with anybody who doesn't deal with their family. Like, they don't have any real family ties, which is going to probably symbolize that they don't understand the respectfulness and even the love that somebody has for their family. You know what I mean? So, if somebody is estranged from their family voluntarily, because of past family drama and stuff like that. I mean, just keep it a buck. Some people don't like their family. They don't like them. And and unfortunately, because of the distrust that they may have for their family, they kind of project that onto you and expect you to act the same way. And you might not share any of those kind of experiences with your fam. You know what I mean? So they might be trying to protect you from a situation that you don't need shelter or safety from. You know? So so every time you're dealing with your family, you know, it can get toxic. Because here they are warning you about your family. Like, yeah, that's the same thing my brother did, or the same thing my sister did. Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, be careful. Because what the fuck? Nigga, how about you need therapy? Or, you know, come on, shorty. Like, no, I don't hate my dad. You know what I'm saying? We not doing that. We not doing that. And,
So I will say that people like that, because my daughter's like that. But the family members that she doesn't like are all the people who call her on her bullshit. It's the people who call her on her bullshit, don't let her get away with stuff, or who tell her no. She's cool with you until that moment. The moment you shut her shit down, and it's a lot of dumb shit. The moment you shut her dumb shit down, or say to her, like, you know, perhaps you should reconsider, all of a sudden she'll mess with you, and then she'll project that, you know, onto her friends.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be careful, because you see what happened with me. You know, of course, if it's a new friend or a friend who hasn't had a lot of exposure to her family, or boyfriend who has had a lot of exposure to her family, they're thinking, you know, there must be some validity to this. Until the behavior just keeps repeating itself, and then they realize that she's the problem. You know. And I'm just using her as an example, but there's you know, anybody who's like that. It's wild that you use it as an example. That's almost verbatim.
The problem is not always the family. You know what I mean? Your spouse or your woman or your man, they could be the family member that's the fucking problem. And they trying to divert your attention over to everybody else who's decent. And that's a form of miscommunication as well. Because if somebody is telling you or warning you about their family and telling you that you know, my family, you know, they always, they never treated me right. They never, you know, they never stood by me and blah, 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 blah. And all that shit is a lie. Because they might be just like what you described with your daughter. They're the real problems. And they may be the real problem in the relationship too. So you add in family members where you have conflicting information about their involvement and their character. Now you got a nice little gumbo of toxicity going on. And y'all eating. But anyway, but yeah, so yeah, that's a confusing situation for family to be in, and it can confuse the dynamics of a relationship. And it really just ain't right. But yeah, it's not always the family members on the outside. Sometimes it's the one right there that's standing in front of you, the one that you swapping body fluids with, that one. You know, causing all the fucking problems. Shit, you may need their family to swoop in and rescue your ass at one day. And everybody talking about something. Well, we tried to tell you. Like, how did y'all try to tell me? Well, remember last Thanksgiving, just before.
My mother-in-law said, I told you. All my son was. And I said, you know what? You're right. She said, but you didn't want to listen. I said, yup, you're right. She said, go on going. But she was right. From day one, the day she met me.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I was going to say something subtle like, remember last Thanksgiving, just before the turkey got carved, I held up the knife and I twitched my nose to the left and the right. And everybody knows. Everybody in this family knows that's the warning signal. Even the cows run for higher ground when I do that shit. I don't know how you missed it. So yeah, don't come around here complaining when we clearly told you.
I'm laughing. You don't understand. I almost choked on my yogurt. So I'm laughing because his mother used to do this. His
I'm
mother used to do
done.
this thing where she would just,
I'm
she has big
done.
eyes, like Betty Davis eyes.
Okay.
And so she would do like this blank stare. And that was her signal. Like he's spitting some bullshit signal.
That's
swear.
wow. That's crazy. It
Because,
really
you
is.
know, she just, she would just say whatever she wanted to say, but there were times where she tried to refrain, or restrain herself, I should say. But her face couldn't, couldn't hide it. So she'd do the Betty Davis blank stare, and another family member was like,
She got a hollow gold. I can't, man. That's oh my god. But yeah, yeah, on the strength of this whole, how much the in-laws or family be involved, we've covered a lot. I don't know how long you was listening, but we covered a lot in terms of a lot of different scenarios where where lines of respectability and, or should I say, lines of respectfulness can be crossed voluntarily and involuntarily. So when we talk about family members being invited or inviting themselves to just stay with y'all like it's sweet like that, and what about the whole situation where family members always need help?
oh God,
Yeah.
yo, that can cause so many rifts between you and your person, especially when you see through. Especially, let's say, like, there's always somebody who legitimately always needs help because they never fully got their shit together. And then there's the family member that's bullshitting, like straight bullshitting.
Yeah.
And you see through the bullshit. It's like sometimes, depending on your personality, you don't know how to tell your spouse or whatever. So you just be like, I don't know how to say to them that their brother or their cousin is full of shit. So I'm gonna just let it ride out, mind my business. And you sit there uncomfortable for however long, and each and every time that their bullshit comes, to your doorstep, and your person has to help them.
Yeah.
Or, like myself, you be like, that's bullshit. I'm like, you sure that she really needs that? 'Cause it sounds like bullshit to me. Then now that's the problem. Either way, it's going to be a problem. Either way, it's going to be a problem. But there are a lot of family members that feel like, they can do whatever they want because they are the blood family.
That's true. What do you think about this? One person in the relationship or the marriage comes from a big family, so they're used to family being around a lot. And the other one comes from a very small family, maybe an only child, maybe just the two, the two siblings. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It was just me and my sister, or me and my brother, or whatever. So they're not really used to always being around family members, or always having family members over the crib, or a whole lot of family involvement. Like
that was my situation. Even though I'm an only child, I come from like both my parents come from they had a lot of siblings, and I have a very large family on both sides. So I think that's one of the reasons why my ex-husband wanted to isolate me, kind of like to put me down on like his level as far as family accessibility. So
Okay.
yeah.
So he
It was bad
didn't.
enough my family didn't even live in the state. Like I said, my mother was in South Carolina, so I was already here by myself. You know, and then on top of that, there was a lot of isolation. But when you have a big family, you know, everybody's not as lucky as I am to have a big family. Everybody has, you know, has personalities, but everyone knows there's a threshold that you don't cross. Everyone but maybe two or three people. But everybody else, you know, knows that you don't go past a certain threshold.
Do you think there's ever?
I'm sorry.
No. Finish your thought.
I was gonna say it's one thing the family has to jump in to like protect somebody. But other than that, nobody's really gonna go all in your business like that. You know, they just won't, and they might know all your business, right? And your spouse doesn't even know that cousin Joe knows, you know, whatever, all kinds of private stuff.
Yeah,
cousin Joe that's not going to say it, you know. I don't know. So, but that's my family. But I know a lot of big families where everybody feels like they could do whatever they want, and that poor spouse who comes from a family where there was only 3 siblings, you know, and everybody only had 1 to 3 kids. They're not used to all of that movement.
They're not used to all of that involvement. And it's not easy to get used to either. It's really not. You know what I mean?
Those are the people that say, I didn't know what I signed up for.
But and especially if the kids are like, how do I say it? Bad.
Did you say, how do you say?
Yeah, how do you say? The kids are a little spirit. No, wait. They have a lot of energy. Sometimes they're a little mischief. They're bad. The kids are bad. What are you doing? But I'm thinking about it like this. Like, do you think that there's? Do you think that it's ever legitimate that a man may want to isolate his woman from his family? Like, if he says, like, well, you know, you did marry me, like back in the day, the woman in the marriage was given away to her husband. Now, I'm not trying to say you can't go around them anymore, but you know what I mean? This is supposed to be our thing that we're supposed to be starting our own family. So, you know, how can we do that when your family is running interference, or they getting involved? Like, do you think that it's ever legit for a man to feel that way?
Ever, yeah, man or woman, yes. Because there are families, you know, like I mentioned, that don't know when to stop, or they don't have that threshold, or they know the threshold, but they don't give a damn about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I would hope, and I've seen, you know, the spouse say, you know what, enough is enough. Like, this is our family. You know, how are we supposed to be able to grow as a family if your people are always involved? You know, they don't know our day to day. And then the family members like, I know what they tell me. You know, that sort of thing. Well, that's part of the problem too. Stop telling my goddamn business. So,
the goddamn business.
I do think there are cases where it's legitimate.
Yeah, I could see how it could definitely become an issue. I could definitely see how it could become an issue. But there's probably a thin line between the legitimacy of that and the toxicity of that. You know what I mean? And communication is one of those things that should definitely take place between the two of you to make sure that everything is on the up and up. And being on the up and up is different between different people. Like my up and up may not be your up and up, and our up and up may not be somebody else's. So I would think that it would be harder for a couple to get on the same page if they've never communicated to each other or never agreed what that page is supposed to look like and how it's supposed to act.
Mm.
So, you know, I mean, there's so many ways to destroy a potentially decent union. But when the two people involved are unevolved, then there's that. You know what I mean? So that's going to make communication harder because one person may be feeling like, why can't you just do everything I tell you to do? That would be me, because I believe in everybody just doing like what? What's you don't think I have good ideas? I have great ideas. Don't you just do everything I say and everything will be cool? Nah, I'm only kidding. I'm not really like that. But theoretically, in my mind, I am. Like, I ain't gonna steer you wrong. But how can I expect somebody to trust me if that trust has never really been tested or it's never been pit up against prior toxic or damaging or emotional history. You know what I mean? Like we need a test of this legitimacy. Trust is one of those things that some people give out freely and some people really, really hold it close to their vest, like a good hand of cards. You know what I mean? So in order to see those cards, somebody has to know that it's safe. Safety is important. So it's yeesh.
I wanna piggyback off of that, you know, this feeling like it's safe, you know, because we're trying to figure out like how much in-law should be involved. And it can be hard to navigate that, in my opinion, when, and I don't know if you agree with what I'm about to say, but sometimes in-laws will show their representative. You know how they say that when you're dating somebody, they're representative?
Yeah.
In-laws do that same shit, you know? So now you're dating this person and you're thinking that, you know what? I'm really into her or I'm really into him. He comes from a good family. I met his people. His people seem like they got sense. And then after y'all link all the way up, you realize there's probably maybe one cousin and an aunt that has sense. Everybody else is best. Like you didn't even know. You didn't even know what you were walking into until you did. And sometimes the in-laws are kind of out there with their messiness, and sometimes they're kind of sly with it, where they'll be making snarky comments or whatever when you're in the next room or not around, and now you're looking like you're just against Aunt Leona.
Yeah, Aunt Leona.
Yeah, I actually had Aunt Leona. I love
right.
her. And she used to make snarky comments. That's why
I hear you.
I'm up to Aunt Lee. What? I was like, yo, you wild.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand family members wanting to be on the side of. I mean, they are on the family side. I mean, you know, ain't no way around that. But that doesn't mean that the family it doesn't mean that the family whose side that they're on is legit. It doesn't mean that they are representing. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that they the good guy in this situation. But I do have to everybody has to recognize that. Well, we still got to ride for our guy. Sorry, you know what I mean? Like he's our guy because we gonna be stuck with him after you gone. Should you have enough of this shit?
Yeah, but what do you do when you think you went into a family where the mother or father-in-law is, you know, will keep a respectful distance, and then and then once you guys have a baby, now the mother-in-law's like, overbearing, or stuff like that.
Yeah. Once again, communication is the issue. Boundaries have to be respected. If y'all would come in freely, if y'all would into our crib freely before kids became involved, then of course it's going to be hard to scale that back. And me and my woman have to take responsibility for that. Right. Doesn't mean we can't do it, but we have to take responsibility for implementing this change that nobody got prepared for. You know what I mean? And it has to be okay that you could tell somebody like, yo, we got this. Like, listen, we appreciate you, helping out and being there and being a resource for us, but we have some things that we need to do. And this is our shit. Now, if your spouse or your woman or your man or whatever doesn't want to be on board with that, so that means that there's a lack of communication and agreement between the two of you. So where do you expect things to go from there? It's not going to be a good look. So things have to be tightened up all across the board. What is a woolly willy beard?
I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody in the chat. I'm sorry. Somebody in the chat said he said, bro got that woolly willy beard. Is that what it is? I don't know. All right. Look, we're about to get on about it here, but I appreciate you calling in, and I really, really appreciate your insight and your input. So I want you to have a great day. No exceptions. Do your thing.
You too. And thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, and please don't hesitate to call in again.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Have a good day. Bye.
All right, y'all. We are coming up on the end of the show. I want to thank y'all for coming on through. Let's do these birthday shout outs and then we can get out. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious September 13th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box, Kiana Crump and Kalima Porter, and also Kim Jones Stevens. And she's raising money for the birthday fundraiser for Friends for Life Foundation Incorporated. And also Angel Loves to Sing. To Keisha McIntyre, no relation, but what up, cuz? What's good? And also Dolores, Living Life to the Fullest. And Angela Dominguez, Theodore Smith, Philly Mo, Robin Moving in the Right Direction, Berean. And last but not least, my girl Davita Carter. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all a good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious September 13th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on and do the damn, the rock out. Rock on and do the damn, rock out. Rock on and do the damn thing and do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings and do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, I don't know, man, when it comes to this couple thing, this in-laws thing, this marriage thing, this spousal thing, this lover thing, you can't really expect for y'all to get it popping together if y'all don't talk to each other if y'all don't communicate with each other, if y'all don't make concessions for each other, if y'all don't practice acceptance of each other? How are you going to bring other family members into your situation and expect things to go smoothly and live in harmony if y'all haven't been able, if y'all been avoiding harmony within yourselves, or the test of harmony within yourselves, between yourselves, by yourselves? People bring a whole lot of different ideas, different ways of living, different ways of thinking, and just, a whole different set of circumstances when they come into your life. So if you're talking about two lives who are trying to get it popping with each other, and they may be having difficulty there with that, beyond the love that y'all have for each other, because love conquers all, but it also involves more than just the love. So you have to kind of be prepared for whatever is going to come down the line as far as other people's opinions, ideas, and interjections are concerned. Their involvement. Now, we didn't talk a whole lot about like when you hate your family members, or when you hate your in-laws. We didn't get into a whole lot of that. But I'm sure that there are people out there who can relate to that situation as well. Is it legit? It's not something that I would ever want to be a part of, but there can be times when you hated them for the stay. Like, yo, I didn't dislike them before, but right now, because of the shit that they doing, or the things that they've been doing, I ain't fucking with them. They can kick rocks. When's the last time you kicked a rock? Anyway, peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. We will be back tomorrow afternoon, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another Urban Therapy with Sun show. So make sure y'all come on through, because it's going to be a nice little thing. Nice little thing. Y'all have a great rest of this Saturday. No exceptions. Hit the like button, share the show, and subscribe to the channel on your way out. You know what I mean? Y'all been stingy today. Stingy with the likes, stingy at the poll, stingy with the involvement, stingy. Y'all need to get your lives together. Peace, y'all. One love.